The basic understanding that we all need is very, very simple. And that is, it's all about love. And learning to trust that love. Now, it is that simple. But why do I keep getting emails over and over again from all over the world saying, I get so caught, I'm suffering so much, why do I get such pain, such emotional pain? This happens so often. 15 emails I got yesterday, and the theme was all the same. So what is it that is missing? I'd like to explore it with you, and if you can tell me what you feel or any questions would be wonderful. What happens that we get caught is because we do not love ourselves. And we're going to understand why. In other words, we're afraid of love. You know, when I was a young man, I used to suffer a lot of loneliness. I used to be so lonely, and if I didn't have a date on a Saturday night, I would really feel devastated. And of course, I never wanted to be committed because I was afraid of it. Fear of love, you see, all of it. And when I felt lonely, I used to daydream about somebody making love to me, some woman, okay? But it never occurred to me to give love to myself. And it was later, when I had a spiritual realization, is that I am the very love I am seeking outside myself. And this, of course, applies to everyone. So, why is it that we are so defensive? Assajola, the founder of psychosynthesis, excuse me, he said 95% of our energy is spent protecting, defending, and maintaining our self-image. And it is just an image, imagination. Imagine how much energy we could have if we learned to simply accept, forgive, and be compassionate towards ourselves. And that is really what it's all about. But why is it so painful? Why do we fight? Why do we defend? Why do we maintain? Because we believe that there is something lacking in us. We are human beings. And as humans, we believe there is a lack because we forget the being part. That which we truly are, the reality of our essence, the source, the spirit essence of you. And we believe we are just a body. And when you believe you're just a body, you live from the premise that something is lacking. In fact, if you talk to anybody, most people who are not spiritually awakened will say, I feel as if I am not good enough. I feel as if something is missing. There is something lacking. Now, when they feel something is lacking, you feel immense separation. Well, naturally. The moment you feel separation, you're going to be protective and defensive of this idea that you think you are, which is just an idea. Because the truth is love, and love is oneness. Love is totality. Love is wholeness. You know, we talk about spirituality. Spirituality is spirit. Spirit means the whole, the totality of you, the light that you are. So what happens then when we start separating? We develop many addictions. And some of the strongest addictions, I'm not talking just drugs or alcohol or being workaholic or food addiction, I'm talking about other addictions. The addiction to thinking too much. Thinking about yourself, self-concern, self-absorption. That become a very strong addiction. See? And from that, of course, many problems start to surface. Even the body suffers from that addiction. And it is an addiction. Self-absorption, self-concern is an addiction. And you can get very caught in it. So what do you do then when you feel that there's something is lacking and you're constantly protecting yourself, constantly doing that? You get into control. See, when we do not feel that there is love in us, We want it outside ourselves. And we want approval, we want attention, we want this, we want that, of course. But it's never satisfying. The satisfaction comes from inner security, inner knowing of who you are. So we turn to control. Control is a substitute for love. Did you know that every pain that you suffer psychologically, emotionally, is control? What is anger? The need to control. How dare you talk to me like this? I don't like this. Oh, I want to change it. You see, control. What about anxiety and worry? The fear of losing control. What about frustration? You're probably getting it now. I'm not getting the control I need. I'm frustrated. I'm beginning to feel out of control. What is depression? When you feel you've lost control and you feel helpless and hopeless and you can't stand it and you go into a big black mood. See, the paradox is, though, that the real control is love. There is nothing more beautiful than love. Of course, it is the only truth that there is, the only reality that there is. But we confuse love with attachment. We confuse love with possessing, with owning, instead of recognizing yourself in another. The oneness, the affinity that you feel. You look at another person and you really see yourself. Today I'd like to introduce something that I've been doing it for a number of years, but it works, and it's a win-win situation, how to begin to experience love. And it's called zapping. How many of you have heard it? The word zapping. Okay. And it does work, because it's win-win. Okay? Now, first of all, I'd like to say this, that the real power, the real control is love. But not controlling someone, not manipulating. But when it's a win-win, everybody wins when there is. So I call it zapping. Now, what is zapping? It would be wonderful if everybody was zapping everybody else. This is what zapping is. Okay? It sounds like manipulation, but please listen very carefully, because it's very powerful. Let's say you're going to a marketplace, a grocery store, or whatever, and the cashier happens to be in a bad mood. Okay? And you realize, of course, that there is some emotional pain. Maybe she's been disappointed, maybe somebody died in her family, whatever. So what you do is you look into this person's eyes, just for a second, without saying a word, of course. This is 1 second, you don't stare. And you see this person filled with light. You just actually visualize light. And you say to yourself, despite what I'm seeing, the depression or the anger or whatever, this person is beautiful. They're part of me. In fact, they are the same as myself, the same being. And you really start meaning it, because you see, the more you do it, the more it starts becoming alive in you. And then all it takes is 1 split second of looking at them directly with your eyes, with that feeling in you. And please start doing it, because you'll begin to see little miracles. Sylvia can attest to this. Whenever I see anybody down, a waitress or anybody, I always zap them. Right, hon? And it always works. And they start smiling, and sometimes they want to do things for you. You see, but that's not the point. The point is not a selfish gain. The point is to give a little bit of cheer to somebody else, a little bit of love, because we're always looking for love. We're always looking to be appreciated, to be loved, to be wanted. We all want attention. And the best way to convey that is through thought, conveyed through the eyes. They're like laser beams. And it works.